Hey guys, Sinza here, and welcome to another Shadowlands Alpha video. In this video, we're going to go over the different anima powers for Paladin that could be cool legendary effects. Now, Paladin has a lot of baseline stuff. I'm going to be focusing on the Retribution Paladin in this video, and there are some really cool, really effective powers. I wouldn't say that they're as cool or like flashy or, like game changing or, rotation changing like the previous monk video I did, but there are still some really cool ones, and just they make the spec play really nicely. So the first one we're going to talk about is the Mark of the Conquest, which I'm not entirely sure. I guess because a hammer conks. I don't know. Anyway, Hammer of Wrath makes your next holy power spinning ability 100% more effective. I have two stacks of this, so baseline is 100% more effective. Um, of course, the numbers tuning, I'm not going to go over like the actual, like what I think the numbers should be, because that'll just have to be balanced. It's more of just the how, how the effect is, how helpful would it be, and just how nice is the ability. So this is kind of cool, especially when um, you get the once you get to 58 and you get Hammer of Wrath to where it can be used during Avenging Wrath. So I can't do that right now because the actual, even though in Torghast you're put to 60, you still don't actually have your abilities unless your character is that level. But that's besides the point. This would be in game anyway. So being able to make your next holy spinning ability stronger is really nice, and it's interactive with your Hammer of Wrath. So that would be really cool. It makes you stronger, and it's interacts with your kit. So next one is Soul Forge Sensor. Again, I have extra stacks on it. The base is 20%, but that's beside the point. When an enemy dies within Consecration, you will gain 80% damage and healing for 10 seconds. Now that's cool, especially because they made Consecration baseline. So, you can always have it, and it's only 12-second cooldown, and it's nice. Now that's the thing about that one is obviously this would only be good in um, ad situations because you're not going to get that effect unless an enemy dies. But that's kind of the point in legendaries and being able to get multiple legendaries. Even though you can only equip one at a time, it's still just an equip. Of course, when it comes to like Mythic Plus, then you might have to think of different situations, but it's no different than choosing a talent. Now the third one is really nice and really helped the rotation. It just makes it feel great. It's the Ring of Unburdening. It's even called a ring. Like I can definitely see this being a ring legendary. And it makes your abilities cost one fewer holy power. So that is really huge. As anybody that has played Ret Paladin, also people that may have played Windwalker Monk, having your abilities cost one less, it may not sound that interesting, but it is very helpful. It allows you to use your abilities much more, um, especially for when you have things like Templar's Verdict that cost 3 power, or the having Word of Glory baseline now costs 2 holy power, or your Inquisition. That's really big because when your builders cost the still give the same amount of holy power, but now you're spending less. You're able to use your spenders a lot more, and it's just one of those where you definitely notice it while you're in combat. And there's it's not that interesting, and I thought of maybe combining that with something else so that it makes it so that maybe you don't always have that holy power spender, but you're doing, or reduction, but maybe you're doing something to make it more interactive, so that like maybe while in consecration, for instance, your holy spenders are more cost less, or maybe while Avenging Wrath is active. I don't know, but either way, having that one less um, holy power is just really, really helpful. And then the next one I'm going to go over is called Blood Beacon. I don't remember where it's at on here. But what it does is it makes you gain holy power every X seconds while in combat. So, oh, there it is. So its base, it was 10 seconds, and then when I got 2 of them, it was 5 seconds, and at 3, it's every 3 seconds. You gain 1 holy power. Another, holy power thing, um, But I had an idea that would make it cool to where if you maybe increase the damage of your holy power builders and then by a percentage and then cause them to grant additional holy power every X amount of seconds. So it's the same thing as this, except it's an interactive thing. Instead of just like every 3 seconds you're gaining holy power, it's like every 3 seconds now you're holy power builder. So like, Crusader Strike, Blade of Justice, Wake of Ashes, anything that generates holy power, every like 3 seconds it becomes stronger by however, whatever the balance numbers are, and grant an additional holy power. So like generates for Wake of Ashes, it would give you like 4 holy power instead of 3. Crusader Strike gives you 2 instead of 1. Blade of Justice 3 instead of 2, and so on. That gives you that same effect of gaining a holy power, but then it would also be interactive instead of just standing around, or like you don't have to just stand around, but still with the way it is now, you could just stand around and get holy power. That way, it makes something stronger to make it more appealing as a legendary, and you're gaining more holy power on top of that. Of course, it would have to be balanced. You don't want the damage increase to be too strong, and you don't want, the holy power to, you don't want it to be too, you don't want it to be too long. I don't know what the best numbers would be. 10 seconds might be too long, but 3 seconds might be too quick. So it would kind of depend. But either way, the effect itself I think would be really cool. And then the last one that I wanted to go over is called the Badge of the Mad Paragon. Again, I'm not entirely sure where it's at on here. There it is. Because there's so many anima powers, but it makes Hammer of Wrath extend Avenging Wrath by 4 seconds. And I think this would be incredibly powerful. Again, the actual duration itself would have to be balanced. I didn't do the math to know how long you keep that up. But once you're able to use it during Avenging Wrath, Hammer of Wrath during Avenging Wrath, that's huge, and that's very synergetic with that upgrade. Because normally you'd only be able to use Hammer of Wrath at execute range, but when you're able to use it during Avenging Wrath to extend Avenging Wrath, that's pretty big. Because like right now it's 20-second duration, and Hammer of Wrath is with its haste reductions. With my current thing is 6 seconds, but you're able to get Hammer of Wrath down because of haste. So imagine you're generating or extending the duration of Avenging Wrath every time you use Hammer of Wrath. I imagine at max level and with decent haste levels, you'd be able to keep that Avenging Wrath up for a pretty long time. So again, it would have to be balanced, but I think that's a cool thing. I love Avenging Wrath. I love Hammer of Wrath. Being able to keep that going by using my Hammer of Wrath is, I think, a really cool effect, and it's why, for me, that would probably be near the top of the list. Besides maybe the Blood Beacon idea that I had, where you gain holy power for a certain amount of time. But either way, these are 5 really strong, I think, anima powers that could be legendary effects. And of course, I, you know, they're random. The anima powers that you get are random in Torghast, so I might have missed some really cool ones. So if I did, please leave a comment about any that you know of or any other cool effects that you might think would be good as legendary effects. If you liked the video, please give a like and subscribe for future videos. And as always, thanks for watching.